Pop quiz time. Which of these faces is more trustworthy?
Who would you vote for?
Would you kill one person to save thousands?
Whoa, whoa!
You may also ask yourself, well, how did I get here? How did I become a tiny doll? All of these questions and more are part of a new exhibit by former Talking Heads frontman David Byrne and his collaborator Mala Gonkar. It's called Neurosociety.
An organization that we got in touch with called the Institute, kind of a network of a lot of neuroscience labs. We said we would like to make their work known and experienced by a wider public.
It's a mix of theater, real neuroscience research, and some cutting-edge technology.
When a lot of people see VR goggles, they immediately think gaming. But right now, I'm in a room in Menlo Park where the point of these goggles isn't to transport me to some virtual gaming arena. It's to trick my brain into thinking I'm 12 inches tall. Now, this is going to get a little weird, but it's very cool, so stick with us. Back in 2011, some researchers in Sweden used VR to transplant their test subjects into the bodies of dolls. It was a really cool experiment. It got a ton of press. People called it the body size effect. And if you read about it at the time, I bet you wish you could have experienced it for yourself. And now you can. That's what this room is for. That's what these goggles are for. And it's what that creepy doll is for.
This is Britta, and for a little while, I was her. Or she was me. It was kind of weird sometimes, but also really cool, and kind of terrifying. Becoming Britta is one of a half-dozen brain-bending experiments you can experience for yourself at the show.
We discovered that a lot of science comes out of improvisation. Try this, no, try this, which is kind of what happens in the arts as well.
Byrne and Gonkar gave Wired an early look.
People go through in groups, led by guides, but in each case it's a science experiment that's been recreated.
In this classroom, visitors recreate a Princeton scientist's experiment about snap judgment and how trustworthy we find facial expressions by voting for one of two real candidates.
We reconstruct his experiment, which is really around how, when people are forced to make very quick decisions and implicit decisions on candidates, how they decide based upon a very set pattern.
A surprisingly high amount of correct guesses.
And you overlay his results based upon 3-second decisions versus the actual election results. The overlap is fairly astonishing. So 2/3 up to 70% overlap in many cases.
Had enough politics? Then it's off to the Neurosociety game show.
Let the games begin.
The design of the different rooms was, to some extent, sometimes it's a stretch, but to some extent was determined by what the experiment, what the scientific work is.
If you had an injury, let's say, if you lost your finger, would you still be you? You will have 3 seconds to answer yes or no, starting now.
The kind of decision making, especially from a group as far as moral decisions or social decisions, I thought, I've seen that in game shows on TV.
So whether you're into game show sociology or just looking to have an out-of-body or in-doll-body experience, the show runs through the end of March.
Coming in and being embodied in the body of a little Swedish doll is, well, you need a clinical place to do that so that there's no slipshod mistakes and something could go very, very wrong.